Guys, if this content has given you value or entertainment or both, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and helps this content get seen by more people. Thanks. Hey guys, Nathyn Brendan Masters. I just rented Justice League not too long ago. Just finished watching it a little bit. And I have some things to say. And this is going to be controversial. It's going to rock the very core of comics fandom. It's going to create shockwaves. But before I do that, of course, I need to tell you guys about my Indiegogo, Hexcraft Mechanics Ultimate Control. It is an urban fantasy bad girl comic. If you like urban fantasy, you like bad girls, this is the book for you. If you're into stuff like Lady Death and Purgatory, Warrior Non Ariella, all that stuff from back in the day, especially the stuff with the supernatural, with that hint of supernatural, you're going to like this book. So pick it up. As you can see, we have a fourth backer, so we are now up to 100. So things started out slowly, so I'm hoping that they pick up right about now. You got 45 days to go, so still a lot of time to get this book. So let's jump into the video. Now, I just finished watching this film just a few minutes ago, and your boy Zach has a saying, and the saying is, people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I think that will say kind of what I need to say here. So I've seen most of the modern DC superhero films. All right. I think I've seen pretty much all of the Marvel films. I think I haven't seen Thor, but I have seen all the Captain America films, all the Iron Man, Black Panther, all the Avengers movies. So I've seen all that stuff. Okay. And I'm going to say all that stuff made me feel really good. It made me feel good. I enjoyed watching it. There was an excitement about it, and there was an excitement after it, and I really enjoyed it. My issue with DC films in general, and this is not, I'm going to say minus the Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, the other DC films, I wasn't a big fan of the Brandon Roth Superman. That was, I don't know what was happening there. Man of Steel, not a fan of dark brooding Superman. Did not like him. Batman versus Superman was halfway there. It got some of the stuff right. Still doing that dark and brooding shit. It's like everybody can't be dark and brooding. The key to Batman v Superman is that Batman is dark and brooding and Superman is big blue Boy Scout. If they're both dark and brooding, that's Batman versus Batman with superpowers. That's what that movie was. It wasn't Batman versus Superman. Suicide Squad. Seen Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was not a good movie. It was a fun movie. Wasn't particularly a good one. Can I say it was tight? I'll go ahead and say it's the kind of movie that I would like, that I would watch. Yeah, just, hey, it's fun, it's cool. Am I going to jump through hoops to watch again? No. Did it make me feel really good after watching it? It was all right. Made me feel like, yeah, it's a cool film. All right, fair enough. Did I have fun watching it? Yes. Yes, I did. I had fun watching it. Is it a masterpiece of motion picture perfection? No, not by a long shot. And I think there's tons of videos that tell you why, can tell you all kinds of things about why that film wasn't that good. I'm going to say something about Justice League. I really enjoyed Justice League. I have a story, and this is before Mark Waid lost his freaking mind. Okay, if you guys don't know, there's a series out there, a miniseries called Kingdom Come. It was written by Mark Waid. It's an amazing series, and it was really kind of like this commentary on the superheroes that were around back then. Just the violent, overdone. Everybody's jumping in to fight each other. Everything was a big fight scene at that time, and sometimes you didn't even particularly know why the superheroes were fighting. You just knew these were supposed to be the good guys, and those were supposed to be the bad guys. And now they fight. And I'm gonna say that this was really kind of aimed at Image Comics. It was almost the same level as the SJW superheroes sometimes. They're like, and there's gonna be punching. It was almost to that level. I could see why some people think that's what a comic book is. So the thing about Kingdom Come is that Kingdom Come kind of had a commentary about that to kind of show this is what heroes do. And of course, it's centered around Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, some of the older superheroes at the time. And I say at the time because Kingdom Come took place in the future. It's kind of like a not so grim Dark Knight Returns. It's the future of these heroes. Now, the reason I bring this book up is one day coming home from work. This was back in the 90s, early 2000s, late 90s, somewhere in there. I was coming home from work and I was just really down. I don't know why I was down. It was just at a point in that day, I just became really I just got in a bad mood. It was just for whatever reason. Now, I started reading the first issue of Kingdom Come. And I'm going to drop some spoilers here. So if you're planning on getting this, you might want to run away or something right now to jump to later on in the video. But there's all this fighting, and it was all these crazy new superheroes just doing wild stuff, and this one group of superheroes are out here, and it's actually kind of funny because it's kind of stuff going on now. There was a fight at the border, and the superheroes that were fighting were endangering the people around them, to the point where there was one of those aerial trams, and one of the heroes shot it, and it snapped the cable, and it starts plummeting to the ground. The next thing you see in the last panels, you see a blue, like a streak of blue. Now, if you read DC Comics, I'm a huge DC fan, much more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan. If you read DC Comics, you know what to expect. I turn the page, and Superman has the crazy heroes in one hand, and he has the tram in the other hand, and he's floating down with them, and it just made me feel really good. That symbol that is Superman, it just made me feel really, really good. And the thing about Justice League is that Justice League is the only movie in the DC movies in the modern DC movies, that made me feel really good. It made me feel like I was watching an actual DC comic book. Now, I get it. I know that there's some people out there who had problems with, they're making little quips, ha ha ha. Yeah, the amount of that happening, which was mainly with Barry Allen, wasn't enough to make me upset about it. And as a matter of fact, actually, there's once or twice when I actually laughed out loud at some of those clips, because they were actually, some of that stuff was actually funny. And at no point in time did it make me kind of go like, I didn't do it. It was okay. I get it. It was the character banter. If you've read DC Comics, characters are like that. Now, I don't necessarily know. I know Barry Allen tends to be not necessarily like that. And I know people tend to get upset when characters aren't necessarily the way they are in the comic book. That doesn't come off on the screen. So I get it. There are things that I loved in this film. And the specific thing, and the spoilers if you're planning on seeing this film, Superman is returned to being Superman. Okay? I know you might say, well, Nate, your only thing about this film is Superman. No, Superman is extremely important if you're going to be talking about the Justice League, okay? He becomes that symbol of hope. Now, I'm gonna say that while watching this film, I knew what was going to happen. When everything was falling apart, when things were going wrong, when they needed that, I knew what was going to happen. We all knew what was going to happen, but it happened. And you like to see it happen. It was Superman. He did a Superman thing. They were learning. And here's the kicker. For me, this was big. It's like they went with the characters did have an arc. Superman does something. He does something very important. He's getting ready to fight. He's getting ready to fight Steppenwolf, and he hears people in danger, and he goes to save them. Him and Flash go to save them first. Then they fight. Yes, that's it. That's it. Save the people. Now, I can see where some people could have a thing with Batman, because Batman, he was doing a little bit too much quipping but it was not to a point where I stopped and was angry about it or anything. That one joke about what's your superpower? I'm rich. That was funny. I enjoyed that. It could have ended there for me, but again, not enough to make me dislike this movie at all. Loved Wonder Woman. Loved what they did with her. Loved what they did with Cyborg. Loved what they did with Aquaman. Apparently, everyone seems to love Aquaman. So I'm looking at this movie and I'm saying, what was the complaint about this film? And I know what it was. It was too paint by numbers. I get that. And it was pretty much, in my mind, a knockoff of a Marvel film. It was a knockoff of the Avengers. And I get that. But did it make me feel good? Did I enjoy watching it? Yeah, I did. I enjoyed watching those heroes. I enjoyed watching them work together. I enjoyed several things in the film that if you don't read DC Comics, you might not enjoy as much. The Superman Flash things. Whenever it was a challenge between Superman and Flash, if you read DC Comics, you know that's a thing. Flash is always faster than Superman. But I had loved that scene where Flash was getting ready to run and Superman was just watching him, and you could kind of tell that, you knew Superman could keep up. I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the fact that this was not a Marvel film. Things were very different, and there's a different type of fighting that goes on. In the Marvel films are very visceral, whereas it's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, a lot of very fast, blasting and stuff like that. The camera's jumping from one place to another, and I enjoy that in a Marvel film. And this film, I also enjoyed the very over-the-top superhero fights that went on in this film, where Aquaman is jumping from parademon to parademon. He's jumping off of stuff, and he glides down on a parademon. And what? I loved it. It's a comic book. That's the book. That's what I buy. That's what I buy a comic book for. What sold me on this movie was those fight scenes and getting Superman right. Superman's very important to me. I love Batman. Superman's very important. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Let's just put it out there. Those three. The first comics I got, and this will probably tell you a lot about me and my exposure to comics. The first two comics my dad ever bought me was G.I. Joe. I forget the number, but it's like this very famous cover with them, and they're like on a raft. They're like on a green raft, and that's on the cover. And Wonder Woman. Whatever Wonder Woman was out at the time, that's probably the one I got. Those are the first two, because then my dad knew I liked G.I. Joe. He knew I liked Wonder Woman. He saw those books. He got them for me. Probably a little bit later, a few weeks or so later, my dad bought me a huge pack of comics, just like a bag full of comic books. And they were DC Comics, But that's why I know stuff about characters like Shade the Changing Man and Firestorm and obviously Batman and people like that. But these were like some of the older books. These were like some things from back in the 70s and early 80s and stuff. And I love those books. So, but I think because of the failures of DC before this, it left a bad taste in people's mouths, and they were kind of like, okay, this is going to be another crappy DC film. But this is, in my mind, the first film that came anywhere near to getting it right, and that's really because of what they did with Superman. I think they got Wonder Woman right. They have to work on Batman. Okay, Cyborg, like what they did with him. Barry, I know some people don't really care for what they did with Barry. I'll tell you, honestly, I'm not that into Flash like that. I'm into the big three: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then I like some of the some of the B-listers. I like people like Firestorm, that Blue Beetle clique, like Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and the Guy Gardner Green Lantern. I like those guys. I also like people like Hellblazer, Constantine. I like stuff like that, obviously. So this movie was a lot like a comic book. And maybe that doesn't play as well on the screen, but I really liked it. I really did. I had so much fun watching this movie. I even enjoyed Aquaman, who I was never into like that. And what this movie does get right is it's not just about wanton destruction. It's literally about saving people. And they do this thing, and it's kind of corny, but if you read DC, it works. Basically, there's this family, and spoilers, there's this family that's out in the desert, and you're kind of in the Russian, out in the Russian wilderness. You're kind of wondering why they keep showing this family. This family literally is only there to be saved by the superheroes. I would have liked to see more people, more of a Russian town where you got to see more people around. And what I enjoy is Flash got to do his thing where he ran and grabbed people out of the way of danger. That's a Flash thing, and Flash did it. And there's a point in there that's really funny where Flash, gets that one family out of danger, and Superman is like carrying a building. I was like, okay. And Flash just kind of looks at him, and of course, they bring Superman back to life. And I love the discussion of, that's the thing that happens a lot, that discussion of, is what we're doing right? And they literally bring this guy back to life, which is a lot of bringing back to life happening in DC. They have the Lazarus Pit and all that kind of stuff. I like the whole thing with Batman and Superman. This thing of, hey, I like what he said when he came back. He said, you wouldn't let me live and you wouldn't let me die. I liked that tension there, and of course it was resolved at the end because Superman's freaking Superman. So that's it, guys. I enjoyed that film, and again, going back to that statement, you only remember how you felt, how it made you feel, and this movie is the one movie I've seen in the DC, again, the ones that are not the Dark Knight, the one movie I've seen in the others that literally I said, that made me feel really, really good. That was a lot of actual fun. So, other than that, guys, that's it. Again, Hexcraft Mechanics Ultimate Control Urban Fantasy Batgirl book. If you like those things, this book is there waiting for you. You guys take it easy. Nathyn Brandon Masters. Hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die. Looking through the eyes of a brand new life. The soldiers fight.